Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is Talking Crazy 88, back again with another podcast for you. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Saturday afternoon? Hope everybody's doing very well. Welcome back for another edition of the Balcony Chronicles. Hopefully, I'm just going to talk about things that's off the dome today. So y'all going to see, this is a rare occasion you get to see my face, but I'm gonna point it away, but I just wanted to show you the cigar of the weekend is the Robusto, Nicaraguan, I believe. Since it's so early in the morning, I'm just drinking coffee today. No alcohol. I don't drink alcohol this early. I don't drink any form of alcohol before 12 p.m. It's always coffee or tea or water, which is good for you. So let me go ahead and show you the view off the balcony for just 1 minute. Let me figure out what we're going to talk about today. Now, there's so many topics I wanted to talk to you guys about today, but I want to talk about what Paul Pierce has made some interesting comments throughout the week. I mean, of course, he followed through on his promise to walk barefoot with a robe on to his job, 15 miles from his house to his job, to honor a bet that he made. If the Celtics lose to the Knicks, he will walk barefooted from his house to his job, which is 15 miles away, an 8-hour walk. But he's also in the news for saying something very controversial, something that the master, Tom Likas, has said 20 years ago when I started listening to Tom Likas. He said that, and I'm a paraphrase, he said marriage is for poor people and old geezers. And I'm just paraphrasing that anytime that you get into a relationship, it's going to be hard. And it wasn't really meant for people who are he's saying marriage is not for somebody of his status. And I have to disagree with him on that. And going back from last week when I talked about it, when I was down in Florida last week, I said, look, if you use marriage, pretty much what I was saying, if you use marriage the right way, it could be a benefit for black men. All right. Marriages were meant for monogamy and family and preserving wealth, because before the 20th century, way before the 20th century, that's when, well, I would say way before the mid 20th century, before all this nonsense that came about in the United States. Marriages were designed for family stability. Okay? It was meant for stability in the family, knowing who is in your bloodline, knowing who the offspring is in your bloodline. Okay? Because you gotta remember what they're saying. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. So they wanted to put a name and strengthen this family bond between the man and the woman and their offspring. Number two, we'll fast forward to the 20th century when marriages were viewed upon as also stability in the United States. So if you're married and you have a family and you're on a job, you're less likely to get fired from your job or laid off than somebody that's single with no children and no stability in their life. You know, when you get married, you get all these nice little promotions. You get promoted. Not just because you're doing well on the job, but because it's looked upon as that you're stable, that you're not going anywhere, you're not job hopping, you're not taking offers for another job to do the same kind of work, bullshit work. So there are the benefits on that aspect. But that's the only thing I disagree with Paul Pierce about marriage. But as far as a man having a benefit being in a relationship with a woman, especially when it turns to marriage, there is no benefit for the man. There never was a benefit for the man because it was designed to take care of the woman and the child. You were designed to go 100%, not 50-50, but 100% in covering all the expenses of your family. See, when you go outside this country, other than the countries that are similar to the United States, such as Canada, Europe, some certain parts of Western Europe, you're not going to see that bullshit in Eastern Europe. You're not going to see the bullshit in Africa. You're not going to see it in Russia. You're not going to see it in Asia. You're not going to see all of that because in certain aspects they do believe in arranged marriages. Hell, if you go into rich society and the upper class society, by de facto, they believe in arranged marriages as well. Think about it like this, people. Let's take our punk ass president, our former punk ass president, Obama. All right. Now we know he's a punk ass. I'm gonna say it. Secret Service. If you want to holler at me, holler at me. We know that President Obama is a punk ass bitch. All right. Allowing his wife to do a podcast with his brother without him talking hot cash shit on his podcast, on their podcast together, all right? And I get it. But what really, what really sealed it for me is when she didn't honor her commitments as being a former first lady. Yeah, this man looking all crazy with his dick in his hand at former President Carter's funeral, as well as the inauguration, where every former president that's still alive is expected to attend with their first lady. I mean, hell, she reaped the benefits of being the first lady. She made a boatload of money off of her name and status. But she couldn't be there for this brother. Everybody else, and I know every other president's wife, former president's wife, do not like President Trump. They can't stand that motherfucker. And I get it, and I understand why they don't like the motherfucker. But there's certain protocols when you hold that title. And that's why people are running around talking about, are they going to be divorced? Are they getting a divorce? I don't know if they are, and if they are, all right, well, if they are, well, oh well. That kind of tells you something about what black love means in America, all right? That so-called black love, which doesn't exist, people. It's bullshit. If black love is so beautiful, then why are so many black men and women are still at each other's throats, still talking shit about one another? So Paul Pierce, he got it partially right. I mean, there is no benefit for a man to get married. especially nowadays, especially in the United States. He said, and I joked about it for years, that, you know, especially in my 20s, when I found out that Tony Randall, he got married for the second time in his 70s, and he had his first child at 76 years old. He never had children with his first wife, but he had children with his second wife. And that, to me, that means that's savage. That's a legend in my mind. So I always aspire, I always talk myself into it. I'm gonna have children when I turn 70. That's when I'm gonna get married and have children, when I'm 70. I'm gonna have a 25-year-old nurse, and I'm gonna have my paper. My paper is gonna be correct. All right. So he's right about that. He said, "Well, the next time when I get married, when I turn 70, that's when I'm gonna get married." Because there are some old geezers that get together later on in life, that get married. They're not necessarily having any children. They just want to make sure that when they get old and sick and frail, they'll have somebody there to take care of and hold their hand when they die or when they leave this earth. See, that's what happened to my aunt. My aunt got married late in life. They were still together until her death back in 2017. All right. So, you know, there are minimum benefits for a man, but it's not that much. Overall, there is none. What can I get? And Tom Like has always posed this question, right? What could I get being single? What would be the benefit? What would a woman do? Think about it like this. What would be a benefit having a woman around 24 hours when I can just have 24 hours a day in my presence, 24 hours a day? Then being married, rather than having a woman come to my place in my presence whenever I feel like it, whenever I feel the need to. Babies are a benefit for the woman because the woman is always going to try to take that baby from the man and raise it. Don't believe me? Look at there's a whole bunch of female-headed households with a room full of children. And they don't know what to do with them. They're at their wits' end dealing with these children alone. You don't see too many men, you know, trying to get custody of their children and raising their children. You don't see that at all. You don't see it that often. It does happen, but you don't see it that often. Like I said, there is no benefit for a man to be married. I keep asking that question to anybody that asks me, well, Danny, talking crazy, how come you're not married? And I'll give you my reason and my rationale. I'm not married, I don't have any children, and there's a reason for it. And it's not because I'm a flaming faggot or anything like that I like to take it up the ass or like have a grown ass man suck on my dick. No, I love pussy. I love women. I love pussy of all races. I love titties of all races. All right? Doesn't matter to me. The reason why I haven't been married is because the black women that I've encountered were nutty as a fruitcake. Okay? They weren't that bright. and they're complete imbeciles. And I allowed these people in my life as being imbeciles. But number two, I held steady. Number two, the only way I would get married is to a black woman, preferably a black American woman, so I can have my baby, so I can have children that look just like me and their mother. So that's why, number three, I never went the interracial route. I don't believe in interracial marriages or producing children outside of an interracial marriage. I don't believe in it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Unless, the reason for it is because I always have to look at why this a non-black woman is with me and not somebody of their own race. Now, I've met some women that exclusively just date black men. They just into it. Yeah, I mean, it's just something that they're, from birth, from when they were a toddler, when they were young, when they were adolescent. Some kicked in when they were adolescents. When they were going through puberty. And when you go through puberty, when a child goes through puberty, they figure out what they like and what they don't like. So I think a lot of y'all psychologists, y'all need to examine these children when they turn when they pre-pubescent to puberty. Because that's when all that crazy shit happens, man. That's when you realize that, hey man, that boy likes pussy. Hey, that girl loves dick. Oh, she's a flaming faggot. Or she's a carpet munder, or he's a faggot, or something like that. Or even the new one, transitioning from a boy to girl, or girl to boy, whatever it is. That's stupid shit. But I have another opinion about that, but I'm not going to do it on here. As soon as I get my members only account, and get monetized back on this channel or another channel, I'll talk about it all day long on the balcony. But going back to marriage, that's the reason why I haven't been married. Now, going back to marriage, about arranged marriages, by de facto, when you get in the upper class, when you're talking about having paper, I mean, I'm like, generations of money, paper. Before I got sidetracked, and I was talking about that punk ass president. Most of those presidents' children. Let's not even talk about the children of these former dignitary and their family. As soon as a president gets out of office, nobody hears hide or hair of them or their children. They just become private citizens, right? They don't become famous. They don't become actresses or actors. They don't become rap artists and all that stupid shit. They're always in some sort of form of public service, all right? Some of them go to public office or whatever, but they're not doing anything stupid like, becoming a trash collector or anything like that, because they're getting the salary for life, and they're getting well taken care of for life, all right? So, now I'm talking about, in black society, they have what's called the Jack and Jill society, right? Those are the bourgeoisie, right? They tend to, one family that's involved in that secret society or that society, they tend to marry within their own. They rarely go out and marry a pookie. Now they'll fuck with a pookie, they'll have sex with a pookie, but they'll never marry. So, and I heard Dr. Umar say that same stupid shit about a rich white woman will never marry a black man, a poor black man. Because a rich white woman, if they marry a poor black man, any poor man, they're written out the will. They're out their daddy's will. They can never have access to that money or status or class. So that's why they usually marry within each other, within their class. And that goes for black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Now, when you talk about a rich black man marrying a poor white woman, you're referring to these athletes and entertainers, which don't really count because they usually smoke their money away. Very rare that you have a Magic Johnson, that you have a Shaq, that you have a LeBron James in that aspect that monetize their name, that use their name as their brand, that collected assets, that bought businesses, that bought stocks. They have other businesses, successful business interests outside of their playing days, outside of collecting a pension from the NBA unit or the NFL unit or the Major League Baseball unit. Pension, excuse me. So they don't count. So if you see a nigga with a white woman that's 6 feet tall, that's 6'7", with a white woman, just so you know, he's not a computer. He's not in tech. Okay, he's not in tech. He's not in medicine. He's not in those fields where you are making money like that. You're not, and chances are they're not in the Jack and Jill society. Right? Otherwise, they'll shut that shit down. Trust me. You ain't bringing no commoner into our society. All right? I mean, I think people who say that, they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I barely know what I talk about from what I learned because I read, motherfucker. And I don't just go, you can't get this information from Google. You got to pick up a book every once in a while. Now, I also saw a post on Facebook about, and I think it's a fake post or whatever, but it looked like an old man looking sad, and the title of it was a 55-year-old man lost $1 million worth of his property to a 25-year-old woman. So I posted a comment that's and quoting from Coach Greg Adams that men are in love, but women are in business. Remember I told you last week that women do not like you like that. They're not in love with you. Because if they want something from you, it's not your love. Okay? Please understand that. Please understand that. The more you understand, the less likely you have to make a decision to come out of your pocket. Anytime that if you want to deal with a woman, you're going to have to come out of your pocket. I'm sorry, because they're in business. They're not going to get rich off of what you give them, because they're going to smoke it away. Okay? Ask those professional athletes that have to pay these bitches, and these bitches spend up the money, and then they keep coming back for more. Extortion. Of course they were extorting these guys. It's extortion. But what the fuck are you going to do about it? What the fuck are they going to do about it? Okay? Okay? Because, let me tell you something. Byron Scott got caught up in some bullshit from 40 years ago. 40 years ago. And I think he was paying this bitch. And he said, nah, I'm 65 years old. I'm tired of paying this bitch. That's where that's where these Bill Cosby like allegations are coming out. We got the next bill. I mean, this was the turn. I think black men who grew up, who lived during the 80s, the 70s and 80s, that amassed some sort of wealth. Y'all better watch out. Because I think a lot of these skeletons are in their closet, man. Shannon Sharp too, man. He didn't want to pay that bitch. And that's what happened. Now you can argue if it was a black woman and all that bullshit. If it was a black woman, they wouldn't have come out the pocket like that. No. Maybe like that because let me just say this: black women are not that sophisticated when it comes to running a man's pockets. All right. Now you got other races of women; they're a little bit more that's in the United States. They're a little bit more sophisticated. But just so you know, they're gonna run your pockets. So you gotta stop falling in love with these bitches, man. These bitches ain't gonna take care of you when you get old. Very few of them will stick around when the money is gone. Okay? As soon as the money dries up, as soon as you lose your job, as soon as your business go under, that bitch is out of there. That's why I keep telling y'all, and people don't like me when I say that, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. They ain't shit. Bitches ain't shit. And I'm not speaking from a hurt position. It's the truth. They ain't shit. Stop looking at these women for looking to love on them. And just go with nature. They're there to have sex with. They believe that their vagina is valuable. Pay them. Give them what they want. Pay them. Get your nut off. And then because I know a lot of y'all fellas, post-nut clarity comes in. It kicks in. And you're going to see the bitch who they are, who they really are. So all I got to tell you is just pay them because they're not getting rich off of what you give them, fellas. They're not getting wealthy. They're just there to they're just maintaining their status in life. That's why you hear all these bitches getting money from these multi-billionaires. They come back for more, and then allegations start. And when they say no, fuck you, bitch. I gave you $50,000. Get the fuck on. That's when these allegations come out for $10 million. Getting sued for $50 million, Shannon Sharp. And all you got to do is just pay the $25,000 and shit. And Coach Greg Adams broke that down as well because she wasn't really interested in getting paid. She thought she was in a relationship. See what I'm talking about, fellas? Nothing is free when you're dealing with these hoes. They're gonna get you on the back end or they're gonna get you in the front. Either way, them bitches are gonna get you. All of them will get you. There's an old saying, hell hath no fury than a woman in scorn. All right? Let me see my time. I've been talking for a while. Let me see. I've been talking for a half an hour. All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap this up because I got somewhere to go. Let me look at some of these comments on the chat. No, it's not a doobie. It's a cigar. It's It's a cigar. It's a cigar, my friend. It's not. There's no wacky tobacco in there. All right. Santiago Ruiz. I see you as well, my brother. Thank you for checking in. All right. Well, listen, I got somewhere to go. Next week, I'm going to be talking more on economics and real estate investing. Talk a little bit about taxes and everything else. Anything that comes to the dome, because I'm kind of tired of talking about bitches and hoes and tricks and everything else, because y'all don't understand women. Y'all really don't understand women. Y'all need to sit down. Y'all love them, but y'all need to understand them, because their nature is, running your pockets. Okay? A lot of them, 99% of them, are going to run your pockets. The 1%, they're already taking, because the men in their life found value in them. See, yeah. Let me just break this down before I go. All right? And I just mentioned value. You have to figure out what value that this woman has in your life. Okay? Most of the women that you're going to encounter is going to be a liability to you. What value does she have to you in your life? What value does she brings to you in your life? Okay? And that's something you have to figure out. You got to get a notepad. Go to a room somewhere. Go take a drive upstate, or go take a drive somewhere. Check into a hotel with no electronic devices or anything like that, and just sit down and write who am I? Where am I going in this life? What's my plans for the future? If marriage is in the cards, what value does this woman bring to in my life? What value does she add to my life? Because 99% of the women that you're going to encounter, they bring no value to you. Okay? You may think that she does, but 9 times out of 10, they don't bring any value to you in your life. All right? So that's something you have to figure out. Oh, Dub B Tree, what's up, man? What do I think about the overweight statue of the FBA sister in New York City? I think whoever put it up there is trying to clown black women. They're trying to clown black American women. Because you got to understand, black American women, as much as I'm at odds with them, they come in all shapes and sizes. So just putting up and erecting a statue of an overweight black woman with the head, with the dress, with a frown, with a scowl on her face, that makes black American women look bad. And I suspect, I think it was a non-FBA that created that statue. Okay, if not a white person, but I think it's a non-FBA person that did that. Because not all the black American women or black women look like it. So that's an image. That's an image issue that black women, they have to correct that. Because black men, every time when we try to correct it, we get ignored and shot down. But that's on black women to correct that. I think it's tacky, and I think it serves no purpose. And I'm going to go down there and check it out probably. And it's funny that they did that on Mother's Day weekend. I think it's funny that they did that on Mother's Day weekend. Yeah. Like I said, it was a French artist, right? W.B. Tree. It's what I suspected. It's somebody that's non-FBA that has an impression of black women from overseas. And it's not really, yeah, and you're right. It's not the best looking. It's not a representation of a best looking black woman, because there are plenty of beautiful black women out here. I assure you of that. You know, I may be at odds with them, but you got the truth. The truth is, there are some great looking black American women here in the United States, and they couldn't find the best looking one that even looked like Halle Berry. Well, not even Halle Berry. I mean, I prefer chocolate. I prefer tall, beautiful chocolate sisters. They couldn't find a tall, beautiful, slender chocolate sister with locks or hair, or natural hair. I mean, I think it's disturbing. I don't think it should. I don't think it's a compliment for black women. But that's, like I said, that's up to black women to correct that. Black men stay. I think black men should stay out of this. Okay, because when we try to take up for black women in the last 10 years, in the last decade, we get shot down. We get ignored. We get ignored. And quite frankly, I think it's appalling. I think they should take it down. But like I said, it's funny that they put that up during Mother's Day weekend. I guess. So that's my opinion. So I'm gonna go down there and check it out when I'm in the city. When I go down there, probably tomorrow or whenever I have some time. So, and if you do come out to the city, check it out. Take pictures. Laugh among your friends. Okay, because it's a joke. That's just my opinion. It's not a compliment. But I don't. But like I said, I don't see any outrage from black women about it. So, let them have it. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I got somewhere to go. WB Trey, thank you for checking in. And I'm gonna holler at you later, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for everybody for checking in on this live. And I got somewhere to go. And hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Saturday. I'm not gonna keep y'all long, but enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And we'll talk again on the balcony next week. All right. This is Talking Crazy 88, and I am out of here. And black folks, especially black men, let's be careful out there.